Detective is a write-up of Arthur Conan Doyle. So the Dying Detective is written by, you have it on page 118, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Okay, was born in 1859, died in 1930. He was a Scottish doctor. Arthur Conan Doyle was a Scottish doctor who inherited the love of writing books from his mother. So his first story was published when he was just 20 years old. He is best known for his Sherlock Holmes stories. He modeled the character of Sherlock Holmes on his former professor. So now what is Sherlock Holmes? Sherlock Holmes is none other than a fictional character made by him in the series of all his novels, okay, of all the story. Fictional character, fictional protagonist in the series of the novel, right? That is what is called as Sherlock Holmes, name of a person, Sherlock Holmes. So apart from short stories, novels on crime, he also wrote historical novels, romances and plays. So these are the developments of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Okay, so that is about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So let us move to the text now. You have the first page 112. Okay, let us move to that page. You can see some fictional detectives. So this is a detective story. You might have understood it from the very title itself, isn't it? Yeah, many of you might have read also about Sherlock Holmes, and you might have understood this particular fictional character. Fine. So before entering into the story, let us see. Arthur Conan Doyle will always be remembered for creating the fictional detective character. So one of the well-known stories of Sherlock Holmes. You can match the names of the following detectives with the names of the authors who created them. So you can see left hand side some names of the characters, detective characters are given over here, detective stories, and right hand side you have the authors, fictional detectives, not the real ones, fictional detectives. So you have Hercule Poirot, the first thing what you are having, and it is written by Agatha Christie. Second is the Secret Seven. Secret Seven is given, Enid Blyton has written it. Next is Vyomkesh Bakshi, and the writer of Vyomkesh Bakshi is Sardindu Bandyopadhyay. Next is Cordelia Gray. You are having Cordelia Gray is written by P.D. James. Okay, P.D. James has written Cordelia Gray. And the last one is Inspector Maas. Inspector Maas is written by Colin Dexter. Fine. So these characters and their investigative skills, if you have come across any of this write-up, you can just go through it. It's very wonderful. You have to see these characters and their investigative skills, how good they are in this field of investigation. Okay, so that even creates interest for us to know more and more detail about them. Okay, yes, so let us move to Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is known for his sharp logical reasoning and his ability to disguise himself. So today we are introduced to this character of ours, of this particular text, the Dying Detective, Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, who is known for his logically, he used to reason up, very logical in reasoning, and is disguising himself. Disguising himself means turning out to some other attire. Now, for example, disguising means a man can change his attire to a woman, right? To a female. Male can change the attire to a female. So that is what is said as disguise. To dress up, to change his dressing style to something else, right? Wherein you can hide your identity. That is what disguising intend to, right? Most Sherlock Holmes stories are set in London and narrated by Holmes's friend. Dr. John Watson. So let us read one such story narrated by Watson. So the narration is given by Watson in this particular story. Okay, so it's a made story, it's a fictional story, not a real one. So Arthur Conan has said it in this way. So it is written over here in such a manner wherein Dr. John Watson is narrating the story. So he says, he's dying, Dr. Watson, said Sherlock Holmes. He's dying, Dr. Watson, said Sherlock Holmes' landlady. He would not let me get a doctor. So this is what he said. Okay, he's dying, Dr. Watson, said Sherlock Holmes' landlady. He would not let me get a doctor. He won't allow me to get a doctor. This is what Dr. Watson said. Who's dying? Sherlock Holmes. So with your leave or without it, Mr. Holmes, I'm going for a doctor, said I. So whether you give me permission or no, he says, or without your permission, Dr. Watson says, Mr. Holmes, I'm going for a doctor. Okay, said I. Now who's this I? I is Dr. Watson over here. Fine. So Dr. Watson is I. So Dr. Watson said, with whether you give permission or not, I am going for a doctor. I am going to call a doctor, he said. I was horrified, I can tell you, Dr. Watson. He has been working on a case in an alley near the river and he has brought this illness back with him. Neither food nor drink has passed his lips ever since. Holmes was indeed a sad spectacle. His eyes had the brightness of fever. His voice was croaking. My dear fellow, I cried, approaching him. So I was horrified, I can tell you, Dr. Watson. So he says, I'm horrified, I can tell you, Dr. Watson. He has been working on a case in an alley. Who has been? Sherlock Holmes had been working on a case in an alley. Alley means passageway, alley, okay, passageway, where near the river. And he has brought this illness back with him. And when he came back from that passageway, from that alley, he brought this illness along with him. Neither food nor drink has passed his lips ever since. And from that time he is bedridden. Neither he drink nor he eats. That is what has been said, spoken over here. Holmes was indeed a sad spectacle. So Holmes was looking unusual and very much surprising. He was looking totally different, strange look he had given by this time. His eyes had the brightness of fever. So he gave a look of fever in his eyes. His voice was croaking and he was unable to speak. That is why his voice was broken over here. My dear fellow, I cried, approaching him. So Dr. Watson called out to him, my dear fellow. Who said this? Dr. Watson. Stand back, stand right back, he ordered sharply. So what was Sherlock Holmes' attitude over here? He told Dr. Watson to stand back. Stand right back, he said. This was the order given by Holmes. But why? Dr. Watson asked him. But why? Why did you say so? On this is because it is my desire. Is that not enough? It's for your own sake, Watson, he croaked. So this is what he said. He was unable to speak. So that is why you can see a croaking voice. Normally, who croaks? Frogs, right? Croaking sound of the frog we see, right? So here the voice was not clear because he was sick, because of fever. He was totally tired and he was unable to speak properly. That is why he was giving croaking sound. Because it is my desire. So why? Dr. Watson asked him, why are you stopping me from coming close to you? Why are you stopping me? So on this, Holmes replied that it is my desire, it's my wish that I am stopping you. Is that not enough? That is not enough. That is not enough, he's asking him. It's for your own sake. Whatever I'm telling you, it's for your own sake, he's telling Watson. Watson, he croaked. This is what he told Watson. And that also he was unable to speak properly. For my sake, so Watson was surprised on this. For my sake, why are you saying me to get away, to stay back, to stay away from you? For my sake, he's asking. So on this, I know what the matter with me is. It is a disease from Sumatra, a thing we know little about. One thing is certain, it is deadly and it is horribly contagious. So he says, I know what the matter with me. I know what is wrong with me, why I am sick. I know the sickness in me. Okay. It is a disease. I am caught with the disease from Sumatra. Sumatra, it's an island in Southeast Asia. So it's a disease coming from Sumatra, like how you have the COVID-19 coming from China. Same way he says, this is a disease coming from Sumatra. It is a disease from Sumatra, a thing we know little about, and a thing that is about this disease, and we know very little about this disease. That is what is informing you. One thing is certain, it is deadly and it is horribly contagious. So you see, one thing is sure, we hardly know about this disease, but one thing is sure, this disease is deadly. This is going to definitely kill the person. Okay, so this is going to kill the person, and it is horribly contagious, it says, which is likely to spread from one person to another, like same way whatever I have told you, COVID-19. So on this, Holmes said I, you are not yourself. A sick man is like a child, and so I will treat you. So on this, Dr. Watson said, Holmes, he called out to him, you are not yourself. You are not just yourself. A sick man, a sick person is like a child, and so I can't leave you like that. I am going to treat you. This is what Dr. Watson told Holmes. You mean well, Watson, groaned the sick man. But shall I demonstrate your ignorance? What do you know of Tapanuli fever or of the Black Formosa corruption? So this is what he says. Whatever you are saying, that is fine, he says. You mean well, Watson, groaned the sick man. This is what Holmes said. But shall I demonstrate your ignorance? But shall I tell you what you don't know? So for your knowledge, for your understanding, I would tell you that what do you know of Tapanuli fever? Okay, so Tapanuli is a place, is a district in Sumatra. Okay, it's a district in Sumatra. Like how we say Wuhan, COVID-19 is coming from Wuhan. Same way, Tapanuli fever. That is what it is called, a district in Sumatra. That is what he says. Or of the Black Formosa corruption. Or what do you know of Black Formosa? Now what is Formosa? Formosa is an old name of Taiwan. Taiwan is again an island in Southeast Asia. Fine. So he's speaking about it. I have never heard of either. So he says, Watson also says, I too have never heard about it. Fine. There are many strange diseases in the East, Watson. You can do nothing. So that is what he's saying. He's telling him, see, Watson, there are many such strange diseases in the East which you don't even know, and you can do nothing about it. This is what he tells him. Possibly not, I replied. But Dr. Ainstree, who is the greatest living authority on tropical disease, is now in London. I am going this instant to fetch him. So this is what he says. Possibly not. I may not know about the disease, and I may not help you out from this disease. This is what he said. But Dr. Ainstree is a famous doctor, the greatest living authority, is a living authority who's a famous doctor on tropical diseases, right? This is what he says. And this personality, this doctor is now in London, he tells him. So I'm going this instant to fetch him. So I'm going to call him, get him, Dr. Ainstree. This is what he promises Holmes. Never had I had such a shock. In an instant, leaping up like a tiger, the dying man had interrupted me. I heard the sharp snap of a twisted key. So this is what had happened over here. So Dr. Watson was also shocked and surprised over here. That is what Dr. Watson is telling over here. In an instant, leaping up like a tiger, this man was sick. He was bedridden. He was lying on the bed. He was unable to speak. We had seen all these things, right? From such a situation, within no time, he leaped. Okay, he took a jump like a tiger. Who? Holmes. Dying man had interrupted me, and he just interrupted Dr. Watson, whatever he said. He said that he's going to call Dr. Ainstree. So that is why he interrupted. I heard the sharp snap of a twisted key. So he just heard the snap of the twisted key. The next moment he had staggered back to his bed. completely exhausted. You won't take the key from me by force, Watson. Here you are, and here you will stay unless I wish. Otherwise, it is 4 o'clock. At 6, you can go. So this is what he did. He took his key and then he was unable to leave that room, isn't it? That is what he said. The next moment he had staggered back to his bed. Then he went back to his bed, completely exhausted. Back again, he was exhausted in the bed. So this is what he's telling. Holmes is telling Dr. Watson, you won't take the key. You are not going to get the key from me by force. You are not going to get it by force, Watson, he says. Here you are and here you will stay unless I wish otherwise. Okay. So you are going to stay over here until and unless I wish that you should go. So now you can't leave this place until and unless I wish that you should leave. So it is 4 o'clock. Now it is 4 o'clock. At 6 you can go. Till then I am not going to give you the key and you are not sent. So you are going to stay over here till 6. This is what he tells him. Fine. I seem to have no choice. Now who seems? Dr. Watson seems. Dr. Watson was having no choice in front of him. Fine. None at all. Now Watson, there is one other condition I would make. You will seek help not from the man you mentioned but from the one I choose. So he says, none at all. You are having no option. Till 6 o'clock you can't leave. You have to stay here. So Watson, you can do one thing. There is one condition. He keeps one condition in front of him. I will keep one condition in front of you. He says, you will seek help not from the man you mentioned. You are not going to take any help from Dr. Ainstree. You are going to take help from the person whom I am going to choose. So I am going to choose, I am going to tell you a name and you are going to seek help. You are going to take help from that particular person only, not the person that you have mentioned. This is what he tells Dr. Watson. By all means, at 6, Watson, we resume our conversation. So by all means, he agreed to this condition. At 6, Watson, we resume our conversation. So he says, at 6, we resume our conversation. I'll wind up this class up to here. So in the next class, I will explain the remaining part. Till then, thank you very much.